So I guess it's time to continue with the speakers. Our next speaker is Mr. Erik Sun, who is going to tell us about making, as he says, successful business in China. He's telling this through Chinese eyes, through his experience. He has a lot of experience from telecommunications business from the 90s, both in Europe and in China. Please.
Thank you, Mauri. Good morning, everybody. My name is Erik Sun, and I'm very honored to have this opportunity to have a casual discussion with you about how to do business in China. And this title might be a little bit misleading because making successful business, well, I can hardly say that my presentation can guarantee anyone here making successful business in China, but anyway, I hope that people can find my presentation can give you some insight, give you some perspective from a Chinese eye. How do we see the business in China? Yeah. It will be three parts in my presentation. I would rather to start the presentation from a cultural perspective, and then we can take a look of the business practice in China, and also we can discuss about the globalization and localization. I see some of our friends have been working in China, or at least have some contact with China, with Chinese culture. I hope that people who know China can find my presentation amusing, and the one who doesn't know much about China can find this presentation interesting. This is how I see. Since I'm not the best academic, intellectual, knowing the culture, so this might not be the most accurate academic presentation, but anyway, this is how I understand, how I see the picture. This is how I see the culture, or how the culture, if we break down the culture into its ground. So I see the language. Language is the basic. Language, by the research from artificial intelligence, the language actually is the tool which help us to think. So language has its importance in how we understand another culture. So language helps us to think, and the way of thinking form the way how we behave, and of course the social behavior, and all of these things form the culture. This is how I see the thing. So this is worth to take a look of the Chinese language for a moment, because it will help you to understand how the Chinese think. Well, there are 6 ways to construct a Chinese word, and the first one is hieroglyphic or hieroglyphic. Sorry. Yeah, since I'm not the best academic in this word, I can hardly translate the another 5 ones. But at least I will tell you. All of you know how to pronounce it? Hieroglyphic. This is is picture to see the world. The world is coming from the natural from the picture. For instance, where can I? Yes. This is the sun, right? This is the sun, how the sun looked like, and in ancient time, several thousand years ago, this is how the Chinese people write down the sun. And by the time it evolved to the current character. This is sun, this is moon, this is cloud, this is rain. Okay, this is it's a like picture, right? So how we create, this is a character. These we have, in the daily use, we have 5,000 these kind of characters. We can recognize as a normal person. We recognize the 5,000 characters. But the character is not a word, it's just the building block of a word. So we combine 2 or 3 these characters to form one word. So you can see car. Literally, if we translate the Chinese way saying car, 汽车, I don't know who know Chinese here. Well, not so many. So if we translate literally, it's a 2 character. 汽车 is actually come from steam wagon. Bicycle, the one that you ride, bicycle, we call it a self-running wagon. The tire, the one, the one on in your wheel in the car, or in the Nokian tire, is here, sorry, it's called the wheel fetters. Speaker, the one we see here, we call it the sound box. Okay, this is how we construct a word. Of course, that in Finnish you have similar ways, but well, so the Chinese word is built by these 5,000 characters by combination. So it leads to a way of thinking. Since we need to combine the things to create a new word to identify object, so we heavily depend on association. How can we associate one thing to another? That's why that you see in Chinese thinking, Chinese way of thinking. Here I list the 2 way of thinking. Well, this human being, we think in 2 ways. Both called imaginal and abstract. As human being, we think in, of course, we use all these 2, both these way of thinking. But Chinese people think more in the imaginal way, and Western, or the one who speak this phonetic language like Latin, like English, think in the abstract thinking. I don't say that you don't have the imaginal thinking. Oh, Chinese don't have the abstract thinking. Just the weight on each of these might be different. So, what characterizes the imaginal thinking? It's analogy. Things like something, right? Enumeration. There's one thing, there's another thing, there's another thing. Induction is well, I have seen so many phenomena. What can we conclude? What is the common thing? Metaphor, but sometimes it's ambiguity. The things can be ambiguous because the word might not be that exact. Like abstract language, like the English, you can define a new thing, just combine several abstract letters, like a car, C-A-R. But sometimes we have to say in our language we see the steam wagon, though nowadays you don't see the steam in the car. Yes. The abstract thinking, the Westerners are good at the abstraction, generalization. So you see it's like the computing language, the abstractions deep from the layer, and the precision, exact. So it's easy to define one object by an abstract word. So this leads to another thing is for the Chinese people or Chinese-speaking people tends to think strategically. strategic oriented. This language, it's like a computer language. Has a different. The different language is good at different things. Like the machine language is for the machine, and the script language is for you easy to make the script and to do the high level things. So Chinese language is tends to strategic, like Miss Matthew. Graham Matthew just mentioned, just mentioned recently that Mr. Zhu Rongji, the premier in 90s, saying the grasp big or leave the small or something like this. So very short phrase, but covering a lot of information, very informative and So it's strategic, focusing on the certain points. Big, small, you see, the grasp big, leave the small, focusing on the different point. Okay, the Western thinking is more process oriented. How to do the thing? You use the thing systematically, like how to construct the machine, how to construct the things. So, which the foreign or the Western people, Western companies good at the process, which you might find difficult in China, that your partner or your customer might not be so good at the process. This is the thing that you will encounter actually in China, that you find people, the way of doing things are different. I used to joke that we in China we don't have process. The only process is in the kitchen. You see how people cook, and even though you don't find the Chinese cookbook because it's hard to describe it how to cook. Yes, so this is a two way of the thinking. That's why. Yes, Johan mentioned that the strategic Chinese government very strategic. That's also belong to the Chinese way of doing things. Chinese culture. Chinese way of thinking. Okay, how does Chinese think? Well, this is a picture illustrate how the human beings think, different ways of thinking. I found this amusing, illustrative. Of course, it's very artificial. I mean, artist or what they call it, artist way to reflect the way of thinking. But I found that there's one thing missing: Chinese way of thinking. Well, you can recognize yourself here inside, right? But actually, there's a special thing of Chinese way of thinking. Well, you recognize this. This is the yin-yang. Yeah, well, yin-yang is the old Chinese philosophy, the how ancient Chinese see the world. It's a typical dualism. See the world in the world. It's the way to model the world, right? It's the way to model the world. Nowadays, we have a lot of ways to model the world. Like this, you have a lot of ways to model the world, model your thinking. Well, this is ancient Chinese the way of model the world. Well, you see, this dualism, but at the same time, you see black and white. The boundary between black and white is not straight, so it's sometimes blur. And also, you see, there's a yin. Oh, where is my cursor? Oh, here. There's a yin in the yang. If you see the yang is the white, the positive, whatever. The yin is the dark or black. You see the yang in the yin. So it's also reflect how the Chinese see the world. It's a dualist, but at the same time, it's hard to. There's ambiguity in it. It's hard to explain exact, and at the same time, you focus on the point, strategic point, which very important, can be important. The big, small, and also the yin in the yang in the yin. Yeah. So it's because it's because of the ambiguity. It's hard to explain the exact, so people invent this model. But it reflects how Chinese thinks. So this way of thinking leads to two phenomenon. Is you see in China you see the hierarchy. Well, the hierarchy we see hierarchy everywhere, right? In Finland we have hierarchy as well. The CEO is different to other people. So we see the hierarchy, and in different culture the different hierarchy. But in China the hierarchy is important. Is still today is reflecting a lot of ways and more obvious than Western countries. For instance, we are running the flat organization in Europe, right? But China, though by the definition is a flat in China, the organization, but still you see the hierarchy, the strict hierarchy. Another phenomenon in China is this one that I need you to well, 清理法. The people who has lived in China probably understand more this. In our legal system in the Western countries, so even it's the legal definitely is more important than the reasonable. You can do things reasonable, but against the law, so then you be sentenced either to the prison or be fined. But in China, be fair, or because this word means a lot of things, so let me try to explain. Be fair or fit one's feeling or make people feel good is more important than be reasonable. And be reasonable is more important to be legal. It doesn't mean that you shall break the law. I just say that for the first, the law is not exact in China. Because people saying that the best language to define the law is German or French. So Chinese language definitely is not the best language to define a law. And meanwhile, in the Chinese law, there are a lot of exceptions. So first, the law is not that exact. At the same time, if it's reasonable, or even if it's fair, or you make people feel good, and let me explain later. I'm not saying that illegal. I'm just saying that even you're on the boundary, you can be excused. You can get excuses. How does this relate to the business? Okay. Then these two phenomena leads to two important concepts: faith and the relationship. You have seen the relationship 关系. You have now even the 关系 become an international word. You see from the business books. The books from the business schools even discussing the 关系 relationship. Faith. What is faith? Faith is we know that we shall not lose the faith. But the faith here is related to hierarchy. Only the people in the higher rank has the faith. The people with the lower rank doesn't have the faith. Of course, in front of the people who has a higher rank. 关系. Since I said that this in China, the emotional or the emotional band or the relationship between people or the emotional band is more important. That's why the relationship is very important in doing business. And respect the people with the hierarchy or in the hierarchy. So in China, it leads to the practice in China. So the practice in China that you need to pay attention to respect the people who has the power or the hierarchy, and also keep the relationship. But how do we understand the relationship? What is the 关系 exactly? of course, people are different. You may say that, well, in Finland, in Europe, we have a relationship, and we do business with. We create a relationship with business partner, too, right? But in China, it's a more. You have a emotional, or the band. Later, I will give some examples. Let's talk about the practice in China. This sign is the Chinese RMB. It's like the euro in Europe. Yeah. Earlier, I found Johan and Graham's presentation very informative and give very good insight about the business strategy, and I agree 100% about the content. Here, I would like to repeat some of their point. Is you need to ask your questions. It's exactly like what Graham has pointed. He has also a list of items. You need to ask your question is such as, are you going to invest in long term or short term? But definitely, I can say that if you want to go there just for short term to earn some money and get off from there, it's hard. As our earlier speaker has mentioned, it's much tougher to make business in China than 90s, of course, and 80s. At that time, it's much easier. Though at that time, from the regulation perspective might be hard, but at least at that time, it's still the seller's market. Now it's the buyer's market. Another thing that you need to ask yourself: what can you bring to your customer, your business partner? To compare with, because you're a Finnish company, and compare with other companies from Europe or from America or from Japan, or who are you, and why do you think that your business partner will value you, will bring you as a partner? It's the same question that I ask. Actually, this. Today I'm working in Finland. I'm constantly asking me why the Finnish partner needs me as a Chinese supplier, and it's wonder. You may find your first deal with your customer, or not the deal, the interaction, might not be exactly your product. Graham has mentioned that to test the relationship, you can put some small orders. Yeah, that's a very good way to. So, how let the other know you, or how do you start this relationship, or how do you like your partner, Chinese partner or customer, see you? This is something that I would like to emphasize. You have one big asset, is Finland. The Finland actually is your biggest asset, because the Finland as a trademark is very important for you. I think that Finland as a nation, I heard that you have started this effort. You create this Finland, a clean tech, or this brand. This is very important, because from Chinese perspective, that we have so many alternative nowadays. You have American, you have German, you have French, and you have to market yourself. And Finland, so far, Finland has a very good image in China because of a lot of reasons. Even the name Finland in Chinese sounds very nice. So Finland as a brand actually is one of your biggest assets. So use it, and to help to contribute to the value. Yeah, so Finland as a company, as a Finnish company, what you can bring to your customer? The value. Actually, there are a lot of other values in not the product itself. How can you can help your customer to find its customer. Today is not, as Graham said, that the most Chinese companies are not focusing in the overseas market, are most the domestic market. But one day, the Chinese company will expand in the overseas market. Like our company, the ZTE, our company, we have the presence in 107 countries. So you might help your customer to find some resource or customers outside China. So this kind of value is definitely is also part of your competitive edge. Yeah, another thing, are you ready to adjust your business model? Please allow me to refer back to Graham's presentation again, that he said that you have to understand how Chinese think the value of your business, either as a company or as a product, because there are other alternative product and technology in China, and also the requirement might slightly different. I mean, the requirement from the end user might be different. So you might need to adjust the business model. I had a question here, what do you fear most? The reason that I put the question here is I found when I had a discussion with Finnish companies, especially in the middle market, people is a fear that the Chinese partner steal or copy the technology. Definitely, today the technology is cheap. At least in our business, the telecom industry, the technology, so many technologies are emerging, and also the people are well educated everywhere in the world, and even the internet make this education process faster, so people can have access to the supplier, new supplier, cheaper supplier, and everything goes quick. Of course, that you fear that your invention, innovations be copied in a mass market, you will lose. So this is a thing that we need to think. Are we competing in the red China, or do you want to compete in a blue China? With red China, I mean from the definition, the blue ocean strategy, the red ocean and the blue ocean. The red ocean means that you compete with a similar product, and the price getting lower and lower, and your profit get lower and lower. And by the blue sea, people mean that you find the innovation. By innovation, you find a new value to your customer, which is irrelevant to the competition, and also leads you to a kind of a monopoly position, that you just introduce new, you adjust the competitive factors, so you can have a relatively lucrative business. So you have to think what kind of strategy you put, and what kind of a pricing level, because I see I see some of the company, the Finnish company, in the small company in Finland, in our business, in the telecom business, are used to work with a few big giant company like Nokia, contractor to Nokia, which Nokia has a big lucrative business, and also help these subcontractors to grow. But to compete, such small, medium-sized company competing in China, you can hardly live on with a very high price, and only deal one single supplier, or single customer, because in China that the people, the price is very sensitive, and how do you compete in that area? How can you make your competitor, or at least make the copy of your technology harder? Is a question that you need to answer. Of course, one of the suggestions is if you can, also not suggested by me, but if you read the book Blue Ocean Strategy, one of the ways, if you have the price as low enough that no other one see your business as lucrative anymore, so you can dominate your market. And also, you need to think big. You need to dominate the market. You need to have a majority share of the market. So, in China, sometimes you need to think big, that become a bigger player in China than in Finland. And also, you can become a bigger player. Business practice. Authorities. Yuan has also mentioned the Chinese, the strategy, the orchestra, how the Chinese government set up the strategy and help the ecosystem to develop healthily. Of course, sometimes it's more advantage to the domestic company. But there's a business opportunity definitely for everyone. So from the micro economy perspective, that you definitely need to see the strategy shift. Graham explained also in his presentation that in China, what happened in 80s, what happened in 90s, and what happened now. And for instance, the joint venture in the automobile industry was one of the solutions in 90s, which was not successful for the Chinese domestic partners, but which is good business for the companies, foreign companies. So there's strategic shift, and also, as Yuan mentioned, that the Chinese government is very strategic, because the Chinese government, each president can work 8 years or even longer time, so this policy can be continuous, and the implementation of the policy also with these state-run or state-owned big giant, it's easy to implement certain strategies. So you definitely need to be informed, or at least to try to gather information about the technology or the strategy shift from the Chinese government. This is just a list of these ministries. One of these, the China Development and Reform Committee, is one of the powerful unit within the government, which define the microeconomy and also define even the strategic industries. Car industry, I believe, is one of these, and Johan definitely surely knows more about this than me. This is about this government level, this strategic level, and the local authorities. The local authorities are different. The north, the local authority from north, from south, they're different, slightly different. In the south of China, the one that you who have already operated in China probably notice that the local government, local officers in south of China, they're more like a European. They are the one to give service to the corporation, to the enterprises, and the authorities in north of China still kind of lean back, and I'm the one, I'm the owner of the state, I'm the city, owner of the city, so slightly different. And but of course, all of them want you to be successful because this is a part of their the one of the criteria for their success. So they definitely will. They wish you to be successful, definitely. And business. Let's come back to the relationship, the business. Well, as I mentioned earlier, that the relationship, actually, all people in the human relate to each other. And well, in Finland we join the sauna together. In China, probably you find people karaoke together, and just a different form. But I would like to stress that in China, that the relationship it takes longer time to build up the relationship, or you have to be patient, even in the business. Because by relate to each other, you build up this trust and reputation. Both you and you have to know your partner. As Graham mentioned earlier, that we Western people, you Western people, receive email and then set up a meeting and discuss and negotiate the issues. But in China, it takes longer time. You have to know this guy from his reputation, to put a small order, to know him from different angles, to know your partner, and also you may find your negotiation partner or the counterpart. They don't tell you the whole story in the first meeting, the second meeting. So that's why that Graham says that one negotiation may take a long time, because your counterpart or even the partner may not say the true needs in the first, the second, or before they feel comfortable. At least they feel that it takes time to. So what I'm saying here is, don't put all of your card at the table in the first meeting. So wait, it will take a while. To build up the trust between each other, and also the relationship. How to build up the relationship is you offer something. Of course, you don't offer your product for free, but you offer something probably parallel to your product. And then your partner may offer something in return. And you, by doing this, you build up this relationship. Not your business related, something else. So this kind of return, give the things in return, is very important in China. That if you receive something, please remember that you give something back. So people are expecting that. Also, you don't make your counterpart lose the face, because the counterpart may see that, well, you didn't give back, he lose face in front of his colleagues. So give the face to your partner, respect your partner, and give the things in return. I'm not saying about the business related, the outside of business. Globalization and the localization. Actually, this is the thing that we are facing, both you and me and all of the people are facing every day, because the world is getting smaller, and we see more consolidations. So what we used to say is globalization is localization. So there not much to say here, just would like to mention that you have a lot of experts in place in China who can help you, and of course Johan definitely is helping you, and also there you need to have a Chinese employee to work for you, especially in the sales, and you need the local. We see definitely a trend that in 80s that you see foreign sales in China. In 90s you see the Taiwanese, Hong Kongese, or Singapore, people from Singapore, the Chinese speaking sales in China. And nowadays most of the sales or even the local manager are the local Chinese who know the culture and know the people. So yeah, I'm just saying that they're the one that you can always these are top recruiting companies and the strategic consulting companies that they have already localized. They have been active in China for 10, 20 years. So you can always turn to them to recruit and find business talent. It's it's a mature market. You can find all of the services there already. So I wish you success in China. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric, for your very interesting representation. I have to say, you started with maybe one of the most complicated questions when we talk about Western and Eastern world, and that is the old saying, as far as East is from West. That is a challenge that you dealt very well with, but I have to say that having some experience from China, I've been there first time in 1979. Since that I've been visiting it continuously, and I still have the problem to understand what is the big difference between the Chinese and Western cultures. Thank you for your presentation. Ennen kuin menemme lounaalle, niin Ville Kuuselolla on vielä pieni asia kerrottavana koskien meidän Kiinan matkaa, tämän projektin edistymistä. Lounas on tarjottu tuossa yläkerrassa ja toivon, että palaamme sitten tänne tunnin kuluttua 12.45 jatkamaan tätä seminaaria. Ville, ole hyvä.
Joo, pieni ihan tiedonkeruuseen liittyvä tiedote tässä. Eli meillä se seuraava työpaja ja Kiinan matka ja sitten päättävä työpaja alkaa. Valmistelu alkaa tässä nyt heti tämän tilaisuuden jälkeen ja halutaan nyt kartoittaa sitten teiltä kuulijoilta ja osallistujilta se aito sitoutuminen siihen tulevaan työpajaan ja tähän koko ohjelmasarjaan. Ja meillä on semmoinen lyhyt esitietolomake ja sen täyttömahdollisuuksia on 2 tapaa, eli meillä on tuolla ylätasanteella on printattuja 4-sivuisia esitietolomakkeita, johon me pyydettäisiin sitten tätä aitoa sitoutunutta yritystä laittaa omia taustatietoja ja vähän näkemyksiä siitä omasta Kiinan tilanteesta ja Kiinan liiketoiminnasta ja miten näkee sen markkinan ja asiakkaat ja tulevaisuuden suunnitelmat Kiinan osalta, jotta me pystytään mahdollisimman hyvä työpaja järjestämään sitten 8.12. Ja lomakkeen palauttaminen onnistuu joko tämän tilaisuuden aikana iltapäivään mennessä mulle tai sitten Markus Mäkelälle, jos haluaa manuaalisesti sen täyttää. Ja sitten toinen vaihtoehtoinen tapa on mennä sinne hankkeen sivuille, eli www.sitra.fi/Kiina-seminaari. Ja sitten sen agendan jälkeen on linkki tähän esitietolomakkeeseen ja sieltä löytyy meidän kontaktihenkilöiden tiedot. Eli toivon mukaan me saadaan sitten näitä vastauksia tämän päivän ja viimeistään huomisen iltapäivän aikana. Niin päästään sitten mahdollisimman tehokkaasti eteenpäin.